Man, if I was on cam, I'd pull up. I have a Venom shirt that's kind of like a Hawaiian shirt. It's super awesome.
Dude. I mean, can you angle the camera so that it's just at your shirt? That way you still, retain your mysteriousness.
Well, I'm not wearing it. That's what like, if I knew, I probably would have worn it and put it on.
That's all you're going to see from me from here on out, so.
Love it. I want to get a brighter one.
I wore one on my stream last night.
Yeah. Dude, how did it go?
It was okay. I didn't get, like, really any viewers, but I played Guitar Hero, so that was what I was going to do anyway, so.
Nice. Did you play that, like, crazy song?
No. I'm not good enough.
I thought you kept up pretty well.
Probably 20, maybe 25 hours of practice on the song at least at this point. Can't get it. I don't.
I hear music.
Here, boys on.
Ah!
We have 6.
Oh, I keep forgetting to look at the user count. Like, I just look at chat and, like, nobody's in chat.
So it doesn't look like. All right. I think we're good. Let me. All right. Can one of you say something just so I can check?
Something.
Oh, okay, there. Something.
Something.
I know I always do this. I can never be sure. All right. Well, hello everybody. We got some exciting news this week with Final Fantasy. Something I don't think any of us expected. We were all kind of.
I think Doctur expected it.
Doctur kind of did. He thought it was going to be later, though. We all weren't quite sure if it was going to be this week, but what is it? Tokyo Game Show's coming on pretty soon, next week. So we all thought that would be the time, and we would see Final Fantasy 16 trailers and all that, and maybe some other stuff. I think we still will, but I don't think we expected Final Fantasy 16 to come out, or not come out, but to see anything about it this soon. We are all pleasantly surprised, and so I think you guys are as well. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about that, and also we're going to be doing some build your own Final Fantasy at the end if we have time. So I'm giving this off to Shadow today because he wrote some lovely notes and he put this all together. I literally watched the trailer, the whole thing just now. I had only seen half of it. So, so go ahead, Shadow. Let us know.
I kind of actually want to give it to Doctur first because internally, he called it.
He
first,
did.
Doctur said it's most likely going to be announced at Tokyo Game Show. And then last minute, if I remember correctly, Doctur, it was either on Discord or WhatsApp, he was like, actually, it might come out during the PlayStation announcement.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I actually want to give a huge shout out to Doctur for that because, dude, you called it and they came out the gate with it. I was so excited. And as soon as, the trailer started, I knew what it was. And I was like, holy crap, Doc's the man. So I'm going to pass you the mic, Doc.
Just for a sec, I'm just excited because I've argued with so many people about Final Fantasy 16 being announced this year. A lot of people didn't even think they were working on it, which I think is absurd. But I was just very happy that before I got to be excited about watching the trailer, I kind of felt like the Kermit the Frog, sipping the tea.
You're like,
But yeah, I'm just super excited. I have a lot of theories about it. I have a lot of. I've watched it a million times at this point. I'm more than excited. I am probably going to complain about some things, not about the game, but around the game. But I do have a lot to say today, I think. So.
Doc, I do have one question for you, because another thing you called out that looked to be true is you called out high fantasy.
Yep.
So tell me about that.
Well,
where did you get that idea? How did that come into your head? Why were you thinking about that, and why are you excited about it?
Sure. There's actually two reasons I even early this year. I knew it was gonna be high fantasy was because first of all they did show that that visual conception that we talked about that wasn't specifically named to be Final Fantasy 16, but I had just had a feeling it was. And then the other one was because of the rumors that Yoshi P was going to be the director, and that mixed with him going on record very early this year saying that if they make another Final Fantasy main series game soon, he would like to see it be high fantasy.
You fucking called it. As soon as I saw fucking, I don't even know what, I knew right away. I was like, oh shit, I immediately thought he was fucking right. It was high fantasy, which I was hyped. I was really glad because I'm sick of kind of this modern mechanic, machina stuff. So I was like, yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, it's high fantasy. So
yeah, I think that we're gonna see a lot of nods, especially because all the games really have some sort of crystal in them, and some it's kind of like a Final Fantasy shtick. But I do think we're gonna see a lot of nods back to earlier games, and I'm not gonna talk about my theory now on what I brought up to you guys in the WhatsApp. But another thing I'm almost certain will happen in the game. But I think there will definitely be a lot of nods for the first games 1 to 5 that we haven't seen in quite some time and has been handled differently in previous games.
That'd be really interesting.
That'd be cool.
I think, yeah.
We'll talk about that more later when we have more chats, I think.
Yeah. Speaking of that, chat, let us know what you guys thought about the trailer. How did you react? I think all of us, I totally didn't see your message, Doctor, about you being like, I think it's going to happen today, but I didn't expect it this week. I definitely was like, oh, Tokyo Game Show for sure, but very, very unexpected for me.
It's actually so funny too, because I've been all year, I've been telling my poor girlfriend over and over and over about how Final Fantasy is going out soon and 16's happening. And just last time I came out to her, I was like, babe, they're going to announce it tomorrow, I'm positive. And she was like, okay, I hope they do.
She's like, get this over with. That's like me and my fiance as well. He's just like, I'm like, babe, they announced Final Fantasy, and he was like, cool. He just is not into it. He's into other stuff, not Final Fantasy.
Not interested.
He went to the Final Fantasy convention with me, God bless his heart. And I think it was more like the excited teenager taking her awkward dad to a convention more than anything, because he was just like not about it. But yeah, anyways, let's continue with Final Fantasy 16. So Shadow.
So Serena, what are some things from the trailer that stood out to you that you think we should be talking about right now?
The summons.
Yes! What a perfect...
So... Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, what a perfect... I feel like we always call something. It was the Tony Hawk thing, our first episode, we were talking about. And then literally that night it was announced it was happening. Wait, are you muted? Yeah, and Doctor was the one who said it. And then Vanessa decided she wants to talk... Serena announces she wants to talk about summons. And then this game just has summons out the fucking yin-yang in the trailer. And I was like... Are we future tellers? Anyways, go on, Serena.
That'd be so cool if we were, but good thing we only see the good stuff that's coming out. I was fucking shitting bricks when I saw it. Was it Titan that popped out?
Yeah, the mountain.
And they're like, that's not a mountain.
Yep, that was absolutely Titan.
Yeah, dude, I was like, oh my god, he's coming back. And then, we saw Shiva, and she really, her design really reminded me of 15's design. I really seriously felt like I got Gentiana Shiva vibes. from this one. And then also when Ifrit popped out, oh shit, that was so cool. And they were gonna face off with Phoenix. It was just perfect. Like, give it to me.
What if they give us all one of the ones we were asking for last time?
Oh,
I think we would die. We would all die.
Dude, if
I
we
want my
saw,
Black Friday summon.
Yes. This is for you, America.
Forgot about that.
oh shit, that'd be so great.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, if they pulled out some of the summons that we only saw like once, like say, like we didn't see it in the trailer at all, but in like in-game gameplay, there's a cutscene and all of a sudden like Anima pops out of the ground, I will shit bricks. I will lose my mind.
Oh lord, or a Ganesh. Oh my god, if they have a Ganesh summon, that's like, I will lose it. I will seriously like.
You've been begging for a Ganesh summon.
I love Ganesh so much, and I'm like, why haven't they done this? That would be the most epic. Anyway, I could go into this all day. We did this last week, but no, Serena, I 100% agree with you. When I saw the summons, I was like, and then it was a little. You could kind of tell it was different this time. It was more like people being enraptured by them, or like controlled by them. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about this later, but I was digging that.
We have to talk about it later.
Yeah,
totally.
I was digging it. I was like, yes, they are the summons. But I didn't like Shiva's design. I kind of was like, oh,
really?
Yeah, I just kind of like. I like the blue. I like it when she's all blue and just like.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, like the Final Fantasy X design. I don't think anything could beat that, in my opinion.
Exactly, that one's the best.
Yeah, which I had a dream about the Final Fantasy X Shiva last night. I was trapped in a movie theater with her, and she tried to kill me. It was a really weird dream. And she was like coming after me, and her dreadlocks were like trying to get me, and I was like, ah! It was a really weird dream. Anyways.
I would let her kill me.
Oh my god, she's beautiful. I would let her enrapture me with her diamond dust. Yeah. But anything else, Vanessa? That you liked about the trailer?
That's pretty much it. Oh god, I was just caught up by the summons. I forgot about the other characters. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I feel like summons are gonna play a huge role in this, and like the duality between a person and their summon. It's so much more like, you know, I'm bound to you. But I want it, like, what gets me excited is like it seems like sort of that the people are subverted in this one to the summon. And like the summon like forces themselves on the person, and like what does that mean? Like, is the person bound to a specific destiny now because of the summon? And like, can a person fight that destiny from the summon? You know what I'm saying? And like the battle between like Ifrit and Phoenix, like I don't like. I just have so many feelings about the summons of this world, and I'm so curious to see like what happens if you betray your summon. Like, the reason why that sparks so strongly for me is because like I used to be really into this old series of RPG called Shadowrun, and in there the shamans, whatever your spirit animal is, like that's your partner and companion for life. You can't like betray that. You're like bound by fate. Like, you got to follow the path, and sort of your life unfolds in that way. So like, let's say for example your spirit animal is dog, then you end up living kind of like an underdog kind of life. You kind of live like a gritty street dog kind of life, just by nature of the circumstances that happen around you. It's sort of like, it affects like your karma. And so like, sure, these are like wild theories and hopes and stuff, but like I wonder, in this world, what does that mean for these people? Like, are people who are bound to like Ifrit, for example, or Phoenix, like are they more like rage happy? Like, are they more warrior type of people? And you know, like, what does that mean? And like, so the guy bound to Cactuar, what's his life like, you know? Like,
yeah, oh my god. He's a prick.
Needles everywhere.
Exactly.
Oh, they're seamstresses.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
but I'm just wondering, I'm like, is it like...
Or what about like the dude bound to Alexander?
Oh my lord.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That would be an epic one. I feel like that had to be more than one person. Like, that'd have to be like a few people that come together, or like, I don't know.
Wonder Twins activate, form up.
Yeah. Kind of like a Power Ranger group.
The game is summon oriented, so like I'm really excited that summons are getting a center stage in this game.
Yeah.
Oh god, me too.
Well, I'm just.
I would like.
Oh, go ahead, Doctor.
No, go ahead, Doc.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm just wondering. I feel like, so, I don't know. if maybe I'm the only one who got this, but it seems like the little boy Joshua was Ifrit. Like he turned into Ifrit, or he turned into Phoenix. He turned into one of them because he turned all red.
He turned into Phoenix.
Yeah, and then the guy with like the bangs that kind of looks like Noctis because Square Enix has a type. Was he Ifrit? It just seemed like they just turned into them rather than summoning them like Yuna could or many others like Garnet. But it just seemed like they just became them, kind of like I don't know, like a freaking werewolf or something, you know, like a full moon comes out, or like they get pissed off and they Hulk out into Ifrit. That's kind of what it seemed like to me.
Well, to me, I actually read into the trailer a little differently, I think, than you guys. Because they specifically said when they were like warring between whichever two factions were fighting each other at the beginning with Shiva and Titan at the helm, the people had specifically called out. I think they verbatim said they're summoning their icon.
Okay.
So that to me still says that they are in control. They can summon the icon at will, right?
And that begs the question, like, can a person be corrupted by their icon? Can the icon take over?
Absolutely, I think they can. But the thing is, the difference and the big point and the big reveal of the trailer, in my opinion, was that turning point where Joshua had turned into Phoenix, and whoever else was the other guy turned into Ifrit. There must be these special people that are their icons. They're, like you kind of said, they're like bound with them. I don't think that's I just don't think it's a thing that everybody can do, or even some people can really do. Like very rare.
Yeah, like the Naruto, what is it? Like tails, like the 9 tails, the 8 tails, 7 tails. It's like certain people, you know, almost like that. That's kind of what comes to mind. But I agree. I don't know. It's interesting because we haven't had that before. It's usually just, I can summon my Eidolon and they can help me in battle, rather than...
Alright, go away now.
Yeah. So Voight comes in and says, Final Fantasy, but every character is a Tonberry. I wonder what the Tonberry guy is like in this game. I bet he's fucking ruthless.
Assassin.
Yeah. Just stab. He's probably a Glaswegian. He just wants to stab everybody. But... Yeah. But...
Oh, that'd be dope.
I know.
I would totally want to be a Tonberry.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yes! Doink!
Sure.
Doink.
It's the only real choice.
And then when you beat me, I can apologize and be like, I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to. It was my icon. Like,
got away. That wasn't me.
Right. So Shadow, what? Gosh, you have made a lot of notes, but I am happy. Man, you really looked into this.
I even would go as far as to say, I believe that Joshua and the guy he was fighting at the end, I think those are going to be the only 2 characters that we really know of that can do that.
Yeah, maybe. But then I wonder, like...
That's what I think, personally.
Who the hell is Titan? Is it just some guy living in a mountain, or is it the mountain itself?
No, I think it is Titan. That's legitimately not...
Oh.
Like, I think they can merge with the people that they're most bonded with, but I think they're also their own entity.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the reason I think that is because they said they're summoning their icon. Like, almost they're not becoming their icon, they're summoning it, right?
Right.
So that to me that's the logic I'm following so far.
I could see that, yeah.
I want to see how the crystals play into that, too.
Yeah, you too, Shadow.
Go ahead, Vanessa.
It's gonna be their power source to like have an excuse for like that random chunk of Machina there, or it's gonna power like the one
I swear to God,
that they have in the game.
If they do that, I'll be like, "Are you shitting me? What? This is high fantasy. There is no airplanes."
See, I don't even agree with that though, because I really like the designs of like say Final Fantasy 12, where they had airship, but they were these big like balloon things that were propelled by like you know, little...
Yeah, they were like
windmills.
Yeah, they were almost like... They almost kind of seemed like old pictures of, like, Da Vinci's theories on how a plane could work.
Well, that's different. If it's, like, a
you know what I mean?
all-out airship that has, like, you know, like, the fucking, like, Tesla car doors and shit, and then I'll be like pissed off. I'll be like, what the hell?
I couldn't get past that fucking stupid car. I just couldn't get past it. Yeah. I barely liked using it in Final Fantasy 14, even though I made sure to get it during the event.
I don't like it's very bulky in the game.
It's so bulky. It's so big.
It feels like you're running over like a whole group of people when you're in a crowded area and you're using that mount and you're like, sorry.
And what it really turned in for me is every time I was like in a questing area, there was other people that I knew that were in like my free company that would like, they'd be like 3 of them or something like, hey Doctor, can you give us a ride? Because I had a 4-seat mount.
Right.
And like, yeah, I'm coming. Like this is a curse, not a blessing.
And I feel like you never really need 4 people to go anywhere together anymore in that game, because you just all meet in the dungeon, or like you're like, I'm at the FC house, you're like, okay. There's never really a time, unless you're playing with a bunch of new players, that you need to like transport 4 people in a car across the fucking world. But I do love that mount. I think it's hilarious. But yeah, I'm kind of over the futuristic stuff. I want like oldie, timey,
back to its roots.
Yes, definitely.
Final Fantasy.
For sure.
2 things I wanted to mention. I feel like the icons or summons can sort of like support their whole faction, because there is a moment where it's like one of Joshua's guards is doing a combo, and he channels like Phoenix's wings during his combo. Like, what does that mean? Like, is Phoenix's power granted to the entire faction in some capacity, and then there's one person who's like a focus of that summon?
Yeah.
So, like I wonder, like, what does that mean? Like, are these icons bound to their factions? And also, there seemed to be surprise of like reaction when people saw Ifrit, like a second fire summon. Maybe they think or believe that each element is limited to one icon or summon, and then this is sort of like the beginning of the floodgates are opening and all these summons are going to start coming out, and like, you're like, what does that mean? I'm just so like curious and excited to find out.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm like, I think just from that trailer, and again, we don't really know much yet, this could be 10 years until we see this game. We just don't know. But honestly, from seeing that trailer, I'm really intrigued. And I think it's going to be very different from what we've seen before. I'm excited. I think a lot of people are not taking it well, which I'm surprised, because honestly, I was like, wow, this is awesome. But anyways, yeah, Doctor, what were you going to say?
First of all, I'd like to address your point a little bit. I think that generally, as far as any video game, not even just Square Enix goes, I think people are just more prone to be skeptical about it from the very beginning than ever before. And I'm not super certain why, because, like, I don't know, like, the last, what I would consider a not good Final Fantasy came out with, I think, 15, but before that, 14 was amazing.
Yeah.
13, a lot of people like 13. 12 was incredible.
Yeah.
10 also amazing.
9, 8, 7.
like bam, 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 right? One after another. And just because people didn't like 15 as much, now everybody goes, well, it's all done.
They're allowed to have one bad game. Like, they're allowed to have one kind of fuck up, you know?
Seriously.
I mean, maybe they'll redeem themselves.
That they have just one, you know? Like,
yeah, well, I mean, like, some people have opinions on how that is not the only one, you know? But whatever, everyone has their own fucking opinion. But yeah. I really think they're gonna, I hope that they're really gonna try to redeem themselves with this one. And I don't care if it comes out in 10 years, as long as it's done and it's complete and it's not gonna be like 15 was, you know?
Yeah, I don't think they'll make that mistake again, actually.
I hope
There's a huge pain point for it. I think it'd be silly. Well, Square Enix seems to be at least a little smarter than most gaming companies we're used to that are like specific to the United States, say. Like, EA continues to do the same thing that people have been complaining about for years.
Mm-hmm.
Blizzard, Activision, same thing. But that's the reason is because they legitimately don't give a shit. Like, it's bringing in money, people are buying them, so why stop doing it?
Yeah, exactly.
Where it does feel with Japan that it's like a passion project too. The Final Fantasy games are like something that are like to be desired to work on. You know what I mean?
Right. Anyways, Shadow, you have quite a bit of points to make about this trailer other than the icons, which icon is spelled EIKON, not the ICON, by the way. So that's just something to keep in mind. So we have a new name for our summons. Now we have Eidolons, Aeons, Icons. Oh god, what's the other ones?
Summons.
GFs.
GFs.
Yes.
We got a new one. So, Shadow, go ahead and...
I think there was a Dragoon spotting in the trailer.
Hold on, I did see that in your notes.
It looked like they were playing a villainous type of role in the trailer, at least, and like there was some kind of invasion, or an invasion was being questioned. Like, do they really mean to invade us? I believe was what was said. The one in question looked like he was using lightning elemental magic. So now I'm curious, like, does he have Ramu on his side? Like, or like, you know, like, does his faction, like, what is there to see? Like, are we going to see new elemental summons as a result? And I also wanted to give a smooth shout out to Mabudo in the trailer. Like, it was really nice.
Oh yeah, that's really how cool. A lot of people defined it, because they're like Final Fantasy, and some people missed the chocobos, and then they saw the Marlboro and they were like, oh yeah, So I know I definitely saw like people, because I was watching the live stream on Twitter and I saw people being like, wait, Final Fantasy, and then they like saw that and it was like, oh yeah, okay. So
I mean, as soon as I saw the bootleg Noctis, I was like, come on, people, this is Final Fantasy.
They've got a type. Yeah, they definitely do. But speaking of the Dragoons and Imperials, so that's also another interesting war, except for magic and Magitech, that we've been seeing through the past few generations, years, whatever we want to call it. Also, who is this dude? Like, you've got the Joshua, you've got the guy that looks like Noctis, but then there's another guy with the scar. Is he a Dragoon, do you think? Shadow?
I have no idea.
Scar on his cheek?
Yeah. I mean, you had a note about, what is it called? It's the mark on his face.
You're talking about the logo?
Yeah.
I think that could be tied to like the summon. Like, maybe if you have this like tattoo or branding or whatever, maybe that's because you're like tied to an icon. You're one who can summon one or channel one.
Like the Lafitte.
Or it could indicate maybe a leadership role in the faction or something.
Right. And so, like, and you put in your notes, and I thought of this and I immediately saw that. So it's kind of like the Lacies, how, you know, in 13 they had that mark and they were able to do that. So I do wonder if they're going to follow that route again. I feel like it'd be kind of repetitive if they did. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Sorry, will you repeat that again?
Oh, if they had like the Lassie type of thing going on where they've got the mark.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, I hope they don't do that.
I kind of hope so too. Just because it's been there, done that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if they do that, okay, fuck it, we'll roll with it. It's fine. Just let me see all the summons. But
right,
I like Shadow's idea of how it could kind of, like your first idea, Shadow, where you're talking about, oh, if you have the mark, that means you're bound to an icon, and you know, if you summon them or whatever, it'll be much stronger if you do it. So
technically, Serena, then you would be Bahamut and not Tonberry.
Yeah,
because of the mark on your back.
Oh well, that's still pretty cool.
Unless all of a sudden you get a new mark of like a switchblade on your face or something, and then it's like, oh, Tonberry.
Oh my god! Imagine Serena with a switchblade mark on her fucking face. She would
be so badass.
I could totally do it with like the mask wearing and everything. I could totally make it happen.
Hell yeah!
Wait, that means so I've got a bunch of lotus flower tattooed on me. Oh, I'd be fucking Lakshmi. Oh, that's kind of cool though. I like her. So she's intense.
Yeah.
So
I love lotus flowers.
I do too. I have a big one on my my thigh. But and then Shadow, do you want to read what it says about icon and what that word means in Greek? Because I thought that was really interesting what you put in there.
Which section are you looking at? 1?
Yeah.
So the word icon in Greek means logo or brand, and that sort of also ties into like what I was trying to say, like maybe you're branded, you know, by this icon. So that's pretty much like just tied to the same idea that I was having, that, you know, the icon, either the icon brands you, or when, you know, that realization occurs, like that you're tied to this icon, maybe then you're branded by your faction. I don't know.
Right.
I'm just very interested to learn more about that.
I know.
How does that work? Is this like a natural tattoo, or is this like a one that's done to you, or is this like a role that's granted to you? Like maybe you're just a normal person, and then through some blood lineage or something, you're picked or chosen. Like, okay, we're gonna choose you as the one who's gonna represent our icon. You know, like I'm really curious to see like what that
Yeah.
world is like.
Right, or yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think this one does have potential, and I really hope that it follows through. I'm
curious
hopeful.
to see. Sorry,
No, go ahead.
I'm curious to see like if they evoke more than just summon. So like I have a feeling this is gonna reference a lot of previous Final Fantasy stuff. So I hope like could we see like the four fiends of elements and things like that, you know, like or Dark Knights and other references to previous high fantasy games in the Final Fantasy series.
I wonder that myself as well. We didn't. I've seen it a bunch of times. I don't think we saw anything that looked like Bahamut yet, right?
No, we haven't.
I think
Because-
they're saving the big guns for closer to release.
Probably.
Yeah, they did say that they are going to be releasing more trailers of the game in Q1 of next year. So we'll get trailers relatively soon, like within a couple of months. So,
Maybe
I
it
do-
won't take 10 years to play this.
I don't think so. I think if I'm going to make another guess. Ready?
Do it. Seems
I
like you
think
have
this
the
game-
like magic mouth here. Everything you say comes true. So say it, please.
I think, and this is kind of optimistic, but I do think we're going to see it around holiday season next year.
Ooh, that is hopeful.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I was thinking 2022.
Yeah, I kind of started leaning that way, but I just like, I don't know, I have this feeling based on because they specifically, like, people were kind of weirded out, I think, about how they didn't show like a trailer, like a cinematic trailer, and instead they opted to go the route of like showing in-game cutscenes and like what that engine looks like and gameplay as well. And I think the big reason they did that is because, which game was it? There's another game out that was released recently, shown, that was an Xbox exclusive, I believe. I'll have to look up which one it was. But they got absolutely shit on because there was no gameplay at all, and instead there was just a trailer. And so I think Square Enix hard leaned into the latter, just because, or the latter, to like kind of shirk that complaint, right? And so seeing as much gameplay and in-game cutscenes we have seen already really points to that there is a lot of work already done with the game.
Right.
And it's going to start going into fine-tuning stages. And that doesn't last nearly as the larger development cycle. So that's part of why I believe that Final Fantasy 16 will be released early or late next year, around holiday.
That is a good point. Because there was some gameplay scenes, and it was very brief. But a lot of people are complaining that it is not turn-based, and we don't know that. We are not 100% sure that it's not turn-based. We did not see controls. We just saw kind of like how it would look. But a lot of people are pissed off, and I'm like, why? I don't know. I don't like the turn-based as much as other people, so I'm okay with it. But I mean, what do you guys think about that? Like, is it enough to know that it's turn-based or nah?
I do have an opinion on this. Oh, go ahead, Shadow. I'm sorry.
I think it's way too early to speculate and react emotionally to anything that you see. This was the first trailer.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even see a user interface, you know, like no damage indicators, no like numbers, none of that. So like obviously all of those things were turned off. Like it'd be a pretty hard pill like to swallow or to even believe that they would just do away with that, because then otherwise it's just an action game. It's Devil May Cry, you know. Like I don't think they're gonna go that route. So I'm just holding out for more info, and I think it's way too early to react with anything other than delight that, hey, there's another Final Fantasy game. We know it's coming out, and it's high fantasy, so it's something different and cool. It's something refreshing.
Yeah, definitely people are complaining a lot, but yeah, Shadow, what do you think? Or not Shadow, sorry, Doctor.
Serena, did you have anything to add? Because I thought I heard you two before.
Yeah.
I started talking.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, the turn base is really cool. It's kind of like a nice nod to like previous Final Fantasies, and it has that cool, like, you know, it gives you time to think about what you're gonna do. But the way, what's it called, like the action based, the way that 7 and 15 have been, I find it to be a lot more fun. It's a little bit more thrilling, and it kind of like hones your reaction time, and it like gets you to really think about it beforehand before you execute any action. So I don't know, I could go either way, honestly.
Yeah.
I would love to see it as an option. Like if there was, you can adjust the battle mode.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be really interesting.
Mhm.
I think they
Like,
I have
so
one
if you
caveat
wanted
to
to
that,
jam
though.
XXX, you could, or otherwise you could do like an intricate combo system or command based. Maybe you can like program hotkeys to different buttons.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Kingdom Hearts style, almost.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Final Fantasy VII Remake did the same thing, actually.
Yeah, they did. They had a different battle mode. So they
Mhm.
probably would. I mean,
Here's the
Yeah.
thing, though. Here's my caveat to that, and I do think it's a really good idea, Shadow. My only hesitation with it is that they tried to do that with Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then the turn-based style of combat was a fucking joke. It was so easy.
Yeah.
Like, I play tested it, and I stopped way before I even finished chapter 1. I was like, no, I can't do this. This is trash.
wow.
Because, like, it was not only that it was turn-based. Like, I love turn-based, don't get me wrong. But it was also the easiest setting of the game.
Mhm.
So why would they make it only the easiest setting, and why couldn't you play it in harder difficulties where you still had to think more? You
True.
know, so I would like that. But as for my opinion on what we're talking about with in regards to Final Fantasy 16, I do wholeheartedly believe it will not be turn-based. I don't think there is a chance that it is turn-based. And let me explain. Final Fantasy or Square Enix does another. I wouldn't call it a mistake. I guess I think it's the correct move. But a lot of other gaming companies fall into the same thing. Is like they don't want to keep recycling their current fans. They also want to invite new players in. And I think in this day and age, it's really hard to convince people that are newer gamers, newer players, that like turn-based systems are fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, I am a huge fan of turn-based. I love turn-based games. I'm immediately sucked into them. Octopath Traveler being one that I just immediately fell in love with because it's a turn-based game. But I do think they are trying to move on from turn-based entirely. And furthermore, I thought the combat in 15 was wretched. But I thought the combat in Final Fantasy VII Remake was pretty damn good. Like, I think they honed a lot of it, and they're like, this is a better system. And honestly, if they can do even better, I'm not mad about it. Like, it was a good system. And also, because the rumor is that, it's funny that you mentioned Devil May Cry specifically, Shadow, because I heard the guy who did the combat systems for Devil May Cry left that company a while, and it's rumored to have gone to work with Square Enix. So the rumor is that guy is the one who's doing the combat systems in Final Fantasy.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I
16.
want to see some guns.
Oh.
Give me some high fantasy guns. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That'd be interesting. Like gunpowder.
Crossbows.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, and then that's another thing. Like Square Enix does need to evolve and change. Like I'm sorry guys, it's not the 90s anymore. I know that we all want to go back to the 90s, but it's
We
not.
do. I do.
I would love to. I would love to be born, and I was born in the 90s, so I would love to be little again. But we do need to evolve. We do need to change. This is the future, and so if you want to play it
forward,
yeah, it's moving forward. It's not as they need to. They need to use this new technology. They need to. It's just something they need to do. And I think that people just need to kind of be more open-minded because that's like the biggest complaint I've seen is it's not turn-based, which one, we don't know 100%. We don't think it's going to be turn-based, but we don't know. And then 2, people are complaining that it doesn't look good for a PS5 game. But like it's in early development. It's going to change.
Development.
Yeah.
Like, this is where you set the framework and you don't refine your textures at this point of development.
Yep,
Of
exactly.
course.
That's the refining stages. Exactly. That is a concern I've seen a lot of people say, and that would be like you said. That would be something I was also concerned about if this was further along in development.
Yeah.
If it was like this is releasing next month and here's what it looks like, and it was that, I'd go, like.
I agree.
Pump it up a notch, please.
I think people just need to give more grace. I think a lot of people are being very harsh, and I'm speaking to. I know I'm going to piss some people off, but I think people do need to be patient, and they need to just chill. I know a lot of people want everything at once, but we are also going through a pandemic, And this game is being developed in the midst of a global pandemic. So give Square Enix some grace. They are doing the best they freaking can. So
and also, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that was all I was going to say. So
I was also just going to make mention is like, I don't necessarily get angry when fans are outraged about things even this early on, because really what it is the people who are complaining so much are channeling their own frustrations because they care a lot about Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nobody that's going this hard against Final Fantasy and doesn't give a shit about Final Fantasy.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean? And so that's like, and I get that. I'm a huge fan. If I thought legitimately in my head with my logic that this was going to ruin the series, I would also be pretty mad about it. But I don't think it's going to ruin the series. I think it's going to be. I think from the little information I know, it looks like it has potential for sure.
Oh yeah.
You know what's actually funny? The thing I'm way more worried about, I actually think it's mentioned in the document, so I'll wait. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, you can bring it up. There's no
bring it
like
up, bring it
order,
up,
rhyme,
yeah.
or reason to the doc. It's just a reference.
Okay. The thing that I care more about and I'm more worried about than anything else is the fact that it only does show one player party the entire time in the gameplay.
Oh, yeah.
I would not like it if it was a single. I love because a part of the Final Fantasy for me is like, I love that a group of people are working together for a common cause to help save whatever they're trying to save. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's so early in development. Like, it's not the correct move to be like, I don't want it. It only has one person in the trailer that they showed for the very first time ever. Square Enix is dead. You know, like.
But so did like 15 when it was.
Yeah.
When it was 13, it was just Noctis for a while. Like, we only saw Noctis for years, and then I think it was years later. I think it was the year before it came out. We finally got to see the other 4. So it's gonna happen. You know, things are gonna be fine, and things are gonna fall into place. And I think people just need to pump the brakes. It's gonna be fine. You know, even if it's not perfect, I think it's gonna be okay. Like,
I mean, look me in the eyes and tell me Final Fantasy VII, its original heyday, was perfect. That game was glitchier than anything I've ever played, ever.
Oh lordy, I could only
It
imagine.
was wild.
Really?
In fact, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but when Final Fantasy VII was put up on so many stilts from the original release, that when they brought it to like people to test it for the first time, they were legitimately like, yeah, this is a really good start. Like, definitely we can make this work. And they're like, the development team was basically like, no, that's the final build. Some of those things are working and we don't actually know why.
Oh my
We're
gosh.
Just release it.
Well,
And that's why that's why it was so easy to get into other like game modes, like just to like you could get into the debug room, or just had all the characters in a black screen. You can interact with them and do weird shit. There was a glitch that for some fucking reason you could run into that underwater ship encounter, but your party was instead replaced by Sephiroth, and you could fight as Sephiroth. But the first move that the ship would do is to try to pick you up with the paddle, and it would freak out because his character was too long, and then just go to a game over scene right away.
That sounds
Like, those exist.
ridiculous.
You can take control of the mountain textures and move around the map as a mountain in the original game.
No
The
way.
game was broken. Yes.
No, I want to be a mountain, yo.
And you can. In Final Fantasy VII original release, you can be a mountain.
Wait, is this like everybody had this issue, or just like some of the copies?
No, you do.
The original release, the black label.
Original release, the black
No
box. I have a
way.
black box, and I guarantee if we find a PlayStation, I could replicate those on that game.
Lordy,
And
because I think
It's wild.
I got like the original release on I got it like at Vintage Shock or something, and I never had any issues with it. Maybe I just didn't look hard enough, but like
I mean, you had to
believe
find
you.
them. They're hidden. You know, like, you couldn't just be like, walk up to, you would have to do certain things so people figure out how to break stuff. That's like a lot of people like to do. And it just turns out when they started trying to do that, they're like, oh, the entire game is a beta build of the game.
Jesus Christ. And look how popular it is now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole thing. Like, that game was wildly broken, but it's like a lot of people consider it the greatest Final Fantasy ever made. I myself included.
I can Square Enix is like
Yeah, exactly. They're like, they said now kind of like, ugh. Like,
glad you like it. don't go too far, you know. God, oh my God, I did not know that. That's funny as shit. Shadow, what else do you want to talk about with Final Fantasy 16? Because we do have.
Well, I wanted to see if Serena actually had something.
Oh, Serena.
About 16.
Yeah, that's what we've been saying.
Oof. Sorry, I was still on the Final Fantasy VII original glitches, just picturing you running around as a mountain.
Just being like, I am the mountain.
I am the mountain now.
I love stuff like that when games are that broken.
Dude,
I love it too.
I love it.
It is pretty
so
fucking
great.
funny.
I want to get a copy. I want to get a copy. I want to see all this stuff. No, I just was super excited about seeing the summons again and like how they're going to be integrated into the story and just like their new designs. Like, I don't know, have we had trailers in the past where you saw a lot of the summons like that? Like, I don't know.
I want to say no, but we also haven't really had a game that was so summon focused.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm super excited about it. I mean, I think the last one that was pretty summon focused was like what, 10, where
Yeah.
you know, a
Mhm.
huge part of the story, and then maybe 8, where they're like kind of causing brain damage and shit to the characters.
Pretty
But,
much, yeah.
yeah. Oh, I wonder if it's gonna be kind of like that. Like, you know how, like, sorry, like, rewind maybe like 30 minutes ago when we were talking about the branding, and like the summon kind of bonds onto a person and just starts to like overcome them. I wonder if they got that idea from 8, where if you used a GF too much, then it would just totally take over your brain.
Oh, yeah. Maybe like the icons, if they like do it too much, then no, I see what you're saying. Ooh, they like become them eventually.
Yeah, like it takes over your soul, like takes over your body and then corrupts your soul and just
Yeah, and you start transforming into like a humanoid version of the summon.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Titan's like that.
Yeah. Oh shit.
There
Because
you go.
what if Titan was actually a mountain? Just
A moving mountain that is transformed.
He was the moving mountain in 7. They Oh my lord.
I do
Okay.
want to say, I hope that as they release more trailers and stuff, that each trailer can focus on new characters like in your party that you can play as, or even villains. You know, like they don't just focus on, the Phoenix guy. What's his name? Josh.
Joshua.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like they should use the future trailers to like subsequently introduce the badass party that you can play with. So I'm curious to see.
I wonder if they'll do, because now that you say that, that reminds me of The Last of Us 2. Spoilers, not really though. They had kind of you're playing Ellie, but you're also playing Abby, who is the antagonist in the game. So you're playing protagonist and antagonist, and at the same time they meet at one point. I'm not going to say any more. But that was, I think, the best part of that game, is that you got to play both sides of the story, and you kind of, at the end, were like, oh shit, no one's really the villain here. It's just, we're all shitty people. But I think that would be really interesting, because we always just kind of have protagonist, antagonist, and it'd be really interesting to kind of make that more complicated. But who knows if they'll do that. So.
Oh, I love that. I love
Oh, it
seeing
was-
both sides.
It was amazing, because at the end you were just you weren't confused, but you were just conflicted. You were like, well, fuck, like everything kind of has a rhyme and a reason.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh
and
my
it's-
god, and then you pick which person you're gonna play during like the final showdown.
Oh god, yeah, no, that was interesting in The Last of Us 2 as well. I think that's been something new in games that I really am liking. So,
Dope.
so I mean, any last thoughts about Final Fantasy 16? Because we have kind of a fun game to play that Shadow came up with, and I'm really excited to start. Any final thoughts?
I'm good. I'm ready to play this
Give me
game.
more. I want to see so much more.
Yeah.
Hurry
know.
up, Square. Feed me.
I know, seriously, thank you for the meal. We need more. Kind of thing.
More, please, sir.
What?
More, please, sir.
Yeah, more please. Hopefully in Tokyo Game Show we'll be seeing some Final Fantasy 7 too. I think that would be the icing on the cake, but I'm not getting my hopes up. You know, there's a lot going on.
I absolutely do not think we're gonna see it.
Nah, I'm not. I'm hopeful, but I'm not gonna like.
Oh yeah, I'm hopeful too. I would also like it.
Oh, I would love it, but yeah, it's like, they're going through a pandemic and they've got
Well,
melodies.
it would also not be good marketing. Like you just announced 16,
Yeah.
and now you're going to divert attention away towards 7.2. It would be a better play to talk about 7.2 during some downtime when there hasn't been much discussion. Like when the hype for 16 starts dying down, then start bringing in more hype. Start talking about 10.2 or 7.2.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully next year. All right, so Shadow, tell us this game that we're going to be playing.
I mean, one game that I really enjoy. It's an actual game. It's called RPG Maker, and this was like huge on the SNES, or actually the Super Famicom in Japan, where you could like build your own RPGs and stuff. So last week at the end of the show, I was thinking like, well, what if we could build our own Final Fantasy? Like, how would we build it? What would all these different components look like? So I wanted to talk about like some of the main categories, like what would you build if you could, like what kind of world would you build if you could build a Final Fantasy game? Like what would your world look like, Brittany?
Honestly, I'm always into high fantasy, or I was thinking about this in like Kingdom Hearts, like the Destiny Islands has always been endearing to me. I would say like an underwater kind of thing to make it different, but I'm also terrified of underwater things. And when I'm playing Assassin's Creed, if I do underwater quests, I have a mini panic attack. So I don't think that would sit well with me. But just the high fantasy, I think is just always going to be a good one for me. So I'm kind of old school with that.
What about you, Serena?
Me? For like, as far as world building goes?
Yeah, like what kind of world, if you could make a Final Fantasy, what kind of world would that game exist in?
Fuck.
See, do you want to pass the doctor while you think about it?
No, yeah, so I can actually like pick one thing, because there are like two things I want, so I'm like,
So blend them together.
Okay, I want like, because whenever I play these games, I try to imagine myself living in that world and if I would like it. And there's one thing I can't give up, and that's plumbing. So, I
high
would
fantasy
want
with plumbing.
high fantasy.
Ah, shit, you're right.
Light in the sky.
I have to shit in a field. No. No, not in high fantasy, you damn it.
I have to shit in a bucket.
I changed my mind. I don't want high fantasy anymore.
I got food poisoning. This sucks. I ate a bad mushroom.
Serena wants a nice suburban life RPG so she can have a toilet.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my god.
Mainly like hot showers too. Those are
just immediately thinking about all the amenities. It's so funny.
You're actually pretty logical with that, though. I'm just like, I like the look of a high fantasy. It's pretty, and you're like, I want a shower. So, yeah.
Yeah, not one of those like dive into the lake or river showers. I want a shower.
Oh, lordy.
So I don't know. I'm stuck between like, I don't know. I guess Spira. Like my ideal Final Fantasy would probably look like Spira, where it's still kind of like, fantasy and like kind of like old timey in a way, but there's still like Machina around to provide plumbing. So
there we go.
There we go.
Or a poop scooping Magitech armor.
Oh lordy.
See, those are gonna be the first Magitechs that turn against you.
They're
they're dangerous.
Shit at you. Yeah.
Walk up to their owner. What is the meaning of my life? What is my purpose? You pick up poop.
God.
Oh my god.
What kind of world would you build?
Actually, I think Final Fantasy 16 almost hits it for me, but not quite at the current amount of information I know. I love high fantasy. It's always going to be my go-to. Except I would also like to see it much darker. Like, just the aesthetic of everything. Just be like, if the game begins and the bad times have been around for quite a while now and everything's fucked and super dark and there's a lot of people not having a good time, maybe struggling and like just trying to survive. That one that like kind of, I don't know, because that stuff kind of sticks with me. Like there's like a big grand scale, because like the first time I really started giving a shit about Final Fantasy was when you were introduced to the slums and saw the suffering of the people in the slums. And so that's kind of what I want to see. I want to see like almost like a mixture between high fantasy and like gothic, like just cool. Really dark, really brooding. I just love that so much. I love that stuff so much. I eat it up. Like, it's so good.
That is good.
Yeah.
I think what I would build, I think, like, my ideas are so grand that they would probably be best executed as an MMO Final Fantasy. Although I'm not sure. Like, so I always like when you can blend futuristic and high fantasy together. I feel like Shadowrun did it really well. I keep channeling that. It's like one of my favorite fantasy fiction series. I would love basically like a universe-sized world. You know, like take Mass Effect to the next level, learning from things like No Man's Sky, and incorporating, you know, different kinds of worlds. Like you can have, you know, super cyberpunk worlds or high fantasy worlds or gothic worlds, or like, you know, worlds out of left field where they're like water worlds or elemental worlds and poison worlds and stuff. And that's what I would want, is like this game that could take like thousands of hours or like an entire lifetime to play. You know, like, or maybe like in VR kind of thing where this is a universe you plug into, and like, you know, every couple of hours a day or something, you're like now in a different world and you're engaging with other people and interacting in like a universe scale. I think that would be really awesome.
Yeah.
And to have that like variety and diversity, you know?
Right. Chat, yeah, so Shadow typed it. Let us know what kind of world you would like, you know, play this with us. We'd like to know what you guys think. I also have some responses from people in Discord, but I'll share those at the very end. So, your Shadow, your next question. What was your? So we have our worlds: high fantasy, suburban lifestyle, and yeah. And then
that'd be cool. Like if somebody wanted a suburban lifestyle world, like I don't know, like maybe Fallout before the Fallout. You know, like that would be kind of cool, I guess.
I gotta go to school.
So, Brittany, what kind of villain would you design? Like, let's say you don't give them a story yet, but like you wanted to design the villain. What would they be like? What would they look like? What kind of like? What are they? Are they a person? Are they something else? Like, sky's the limit.
So this one immediately came to mind because we don't have much of this, but I would like a woman villain. Because we don't have many. We always have these big guys with big armor and big dreams, and I'm like, we should have a woman villain who just is pissed. Because that's what I am. I hope I'm not a villain, but yeah, I just want a woman. That's really it. I just want some woman that wants to take her fucking revenge, because I think those are really interesting stories, rather than just a guy who's a villain to be a villain. I'm trying to think of like Abby. I keep going back to The Last of Us today, even though I haven't played in months. But Abby, she just wants fucking revenge. She wants her father back. That's it. She wants to get revenge for what happened to him. And I think those stories are the most interesting and most complex. So that's what I would want.
Oh, totally, 100%.
What about you, Serena? What would your villain be like?
Dude, going off of that, I totally agree with Hylia. I feel like we should have more female villains.
Queen Tonberry.
Yes.
So Queen Tonberry is going to stomp down the road in my suburban Final Fantasy.
So I picture your Queen Tonberry
She's
like
Karen.
I see King Tonberry, and then I see Queen Tonberry like 16 times more massive than King Tonberry.
Oh, yeah.
And just like, I had to get out the nest for this. Y'all are dead.
She's a Karen.
Points all around.
Yes. Yes.
She's a major Karen. Yeah.
I want. So I want a female villain, and I do like the revenge kind of driven motivational thing, but like I want my female villain to be like just to think that she just sees like all this corruption in the world and think that she can fix it, but actually she's not fixing it. She's just killing off a bunch of people without rhyme or reason, kind of like Thanos, you know,
like Emmett Selch kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Emmett Selch.
I love the ones that think that they're doing good, but it's like, no, you aren't. No, you're not.
It almost makes a more tragic story though too, because they.
I agree.
Yeah, like they think they're doing good, but they're not, and it's just like it hits them, and they're like, "Oh shit, I fucked up," you know.
Yeah.
And then you could even like partially relate to the villain too. Then you feel kind of bad.
Oh, totally. I love it when I can relate to the villains. That's why I relate to Thanos so much.
Oh my god.
I'm just
Don't
kidding.
snap your fingers, girl.
I'm going on that bad boy.
What about you, Doctor? What would your villain be like in your gothic high fantasy world?
Absolutely. Let's get into it. So this might be a little contradictory. I'm not really certain. I think it would work. But I have always been just the biggest fan of H.P. Lovecraft, like, type of, like, Cthulhu mythos, like old gods who have, like, been around since the universe was created. And just, like, they're not even necessarily evil. Like, they're just, like, I'm literally the universe and I'm going to do what I want with it because I own it. Like, that's just how it is. It's, they don't have, like, a motive other than that, like, than they consume, right? I love that all-consuming, all-knowing, almost cosmic horror type stuff. That's what I'm all about. It's another thing I really like, so I'd probably smash that in there.
Like a world at the cusp of a reshaping of the universe. Like the old gods come together and they're like, okay, we're done with this. We want to reboot the world and the universe. So let's just kill it all.
Imagine this, all right? We're nearing the end of the game, right? In Brandon's Final Fantasy 17, made by Brandon Mayer. We begin. You get to like the end scene, and the skybox for all over, no matter where you go, is just like super dark with almost like a red tint, and there's just like eyes opening and closing all over the sky, like as it's like watching in on you, and everything's like closing in.
Wow,
that's cool.
That'd be cool. That's cool. It'll never happen, but I like it. Like,
that's awesome. I love that imagery.
What about you, Shadow? Your villain.
Yeah, so like in my massive, like MMO or whatever kind of game it is, I want to see like, I still don't know what Genova is, because like as I was thinking of this, I was like, Genova? Nah. But like a planet-sized disease. Like if the universe was some form of a singular entity that we can't really comprehend as components of it, but like if there was a planet-sized disease, something that evolved over trillions of years, and like it is just a giant planet that is a disease, and it starts shooting out pieces of itself to start infecting other parts of the universe, and it's conscious. I feel like that would make a pretty awesome villain. Like it starts invading other planets and worlds, and it like the story that I quickly came up with when like brainstorming this idea was like, this planet-sized disease evolves to the point where it gains this kind of like self-awareness, and then evolves further from that to where it gains an awareness of the universe, and it knows like, oh, I'm a component of this larger entity, which is the universe, and I want to take it over. I want to become the universe, and I want to start infecting all different parts of it and take it over from the inside out. Like a fungal growth, for example.
Yeah.
Like a cosmic fungal growth. And I feel like, how would you fight something like that? Like, like you're fighting it on such a small scale, and it puts like this sense of futility in the game, and it creates like this despair, because you're like, man, this is like never ending. Like, how many worlds am I cleansing and all of this? And then I feel like it gives the opportunity to like incorporate crystals as some cleansing or healing way, and like maybe different worlds have different forms of like magic, and all of these things like crystals and magic and summons, these could be like sort of the antibodies of the universe, like cosmic antibodies to sort of keep the balance in the universe cleansed.
Yeah,
I like that.
Can I add on that a little bit, because I had like a really good...
hell yeah, that's the point of this game. Add on it.
So like, what if though, like combining that idea with my idea, right? But as you progress near the end of the game, like maybe for the last like 10 to 12 hours of the game, you slowly realize, you as the player, that this is not a fight you're going to win, and then the corruption
is taking over.
You don't win. Yeah.
That'd be interesting,
because that would be the perfect ending to my like dark, brooding gothic game. It's like,
yeah,
it's just fucked. 10 out of 10. Find a store near you.
I think that would piss people off, but at the same time, it would be something to think about. I think that's what we need in games. Instead of just like beating the bad guy, we need to like think about things. We need it to like haunt us at night. So
I would be okay with that game too if I was developing it, because like if I created that kind of ending where if it was like this dark ending, then I'd be like, well, what's my idea for a sequel? Multiverse theory, and now like other universes are getting involved to like, now like the disease is not satiated just being the universe, it now wants to like take over all of existence.
Hell yeah.
And now it's like the battle of the universes, and there's like parties of millions of people banding together, and maybe if it's an MMO, then the players could decide. You know, like, do some people want to support the disease? Do some people want to be heroes? And depending on, you know, the balance of that could determine the fate of the game.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be interesting. Man, you guys have really thought about this. I'm literally just like...
I thought about this for like 10 minutes. And then like maybe a half hour last week. Like, these are ideas that I've had over the years just by playing.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going into business, actually. We're going to make a game.
Hell yeah, I'm down with that. Dude, I want Cthulhu to wear earbuds. I want sort of like a badass Cthulhu with an attitude.
Oh, absolutely. Like sometimes you walk in and he's just like looking out a window and like smoking a cigarette until he notices you're there. Like, oh. I didn't see you there.
So Brittany, in your world, with your villain, your female villain, who are the heroes?
Oh God. I saw that question coming next, and I'm like, honestly, I don't know, because it's like I don't know. That's a hard one.
Who's fighting this scorned woman seeking revenge? Who is she fighting?
I mean,
and why is she attacking? What did they do to her?
I'm kind of like, Doctor, when you said something about like the gods and stuff, I kind of was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with mythology. I love Vikings. I love the Greeks even more, and I absolutely, oh God, who else? The Vikings and the Greeks, the Norse and the Greeks. I absolutely love them. And I would love to have kind of a game, and I'll maybe put this in the plot a little bit more, but where those kind of collide. Because definitely some gods are better than other gods. I would love to have the Greeks just be pissed off at the Norse. I don't know.
How about I pose you this? How about Ganesh is a pissed off woman that has not been in a Final Fantasy game
Ganesh
yet.
is a man.
No. That's what I'm saying. In this game, let's say Ganesh is a woman, because you want your villain to be a woman, and the villain is Ganesh, now seeking revenge for like not being in Final Fantasy games yet.
Oh my God. I mean, I guess like I just know Hinduism too much, where that just like he has to be a man.
Oh, right. Obviously,
it just he has to be a man. So I mean, but I could see like maybe, I don't know. That's a hard one for my heroes. I don't know. I'm gonna have to pass that on because I'm not really sure. So
okay.
Yeah, I'll think about that one. Come back to me.
What about you, Serena?
Oh, the lead party member's totally gonna be the villain's daughter. Yeah.
Oh. Mom, you're fucking shit up.
That is interesting. I don't think we've ever had that in a game where it's like mother against daughter.
Like Alucard and Dracula. Yeah. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so it's gonna like really hit you in the feels when you have to fight that final battle. You're like, oh, my mom. Total opposite of like Sephiroth and Genova.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever had that in a game, have we? Has anyone known a game where it's mother against daughter? Because that's...
I assume there has to be. I'm
there
trying
has
to think
to
right
be.
now.
It probably didn't get a lot of attention because of obvious reasons, but
it's usually mother-son. Like a lot of them like are mother-son, but I don't know of a game. Oh wait, no, I do. Sorry, I'm kidding. If you play Assassin's Creed, which I'm completely obsessed with right now, it's mother against daughter. Not really against, but mother and daughter kind of together, but it does have that mother-daughter theme. Okay, anyways.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, so if you but the thing is you choose, so you could be a boy or a girl in the game, and if you choose the girl, it's like that, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no, if you want like the daughter leading the party, it could be like all her friends, like growing up and stuff. And, you know, of course, some stragglers they meet along the way, as in true Final Fantasy fashion.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
What about you, Doc? Who would your heroes be?
I would really like it because, say, in this world I'm creating here, right? It's literally the end times, right? Mm-hmm. So I would really like to see a group of people, like a big group. Like, think Final Fantasy VI. How many freaking characters that you could have?
That's
like
true.
14 or something?
Yeah, 14.
Like, and so a party of that size, and the kind of things shtick, but like really leaning into how different everybody is. Like, I'm talking people of completely different, like, political backgrounds or like racial backgrounds or people who would clash with each other, but because of how bad things are and how much they need to get things done, they have to put aside all those differences to work together. And I don't even need them to necessarily learn a message from the whole thing. Like, they're not going to be like, oh, maybe you and I aren't so different after all, which would be the nice thing, but it's just such a bad thing that they can't think of literally anything else, but we have to stop this however it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my lord.
Yeah. I don't want to be that. I want there to be infighting a lot between how people think that they should do it, Like, I want it to be a really, really stressful situation for everybody. That like because that type of game continues to put stress on the player. Like, fuck, what's happening? Like, we're not going to be able to get our shit together and do this. You know?
Right.
It sort of reminds me of the tension in certain moments, like in Final Fantasy VI, when Shadow would just dip. He'd be like, "All right, guys, I'm out. Like, you know, like I'm not staying here." In the world of balance, you know, you would have Shadow, and you don't know how long he's staying with your party, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Peace out, deuces." You know, like maybe stuff like that could happen where a party member would just sort of leave for a while and then come back. I think that would be cool. I'm sort of on the same boat. Like, I want all different types of heroes. Like, my original idea was like one hero from each world. Like, if there's a fire world, then a fire-based hero that's some sort of like, or like an energy-based hero that's not even like really taking a shape, but sort of does so for the rest of the party to sort of make sense of them. Totally down for that. Or even like a chocobo hero, like a playable chocobo who's like joining the fight. I think that would be
That'd be cool.
Oh, I love that. That'd be so cute. Yeah. I would protect that baby with my life.
Mm-hmm.
I would want it equally diverse and like all kinds of different like unique abilities. Because I feel like when you're switching characters, like your brain should shift as far as how you want to attack. Or what your role is. Like, are you a healer, or are you fighting, or whatever the case may be. Gotta have a ninja though. My game has to have a ninja.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would like to even have a member. I would like it is if we have a representation of all of the like all the classes or jobs that have been in Final Fantasy. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Kind of like it was like earlier. So we'll have like a ninja who might not be like an outright ninja. He might just kind of look like a street thief or something. Because there's just people in all walks of life. But through how his style of fighting is, you can go, that's a ninja for sure. You know what I mean? But I would like that. I don't need them to be as obvious though. Like, I love that trope too. Like when you have like a literal ninja show up with like a face mask and they like poof, puff of smoke. Like, I like that too. But I also like more subtle stuff.
We haven't had one of those in Final Fantasy in a while. Like, we haven't.
I'm dying for it. Like, just for somebody to come out the corner, maybe in like the second act of the game, like you're halfway through, and it's like, here comes a new character, and you're like, what?
That'd be awesome. Yeah, because we honestly haven't had a ninja since 6. It's been a long time. They need to.
Yeah,
time's ticking. No, we need a ninja.
You're fighting a boss, you're losing, and then this ninja comes out and deals like this devastating blow to the boss, and then he joins your party.
Yuffie's a ninja.
Oh, yeah, right. Yuffie's a ninja.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. But that's 7. That's still not. That's been a long time. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Final Fantasy 14.
Oh yeah, I guess 14, but.
I'm just kidding. I forgot.
I mean,
what kind of?
Go ahead.
What kind of monsters or bosses would you have in your game?
The classics always are good with me. I love the bomb, even though it's a pain in the ass to beat because it explodes on itself. Just like the classic monsters that have always been there are cool with me. I'm not very picky about them because they're just gonna, die anyways. So, but I guess just like, just the typical stuff. So.
What about you, Serena?
Oh, the PTA.
The PTA.
No, I'm kidding.
The Parent Teacher Association. I was like, the PTA, is that like a term? I don't know. I am living the suburban RPG that you're making.
So funny.
I can't even. We all collectively looked at each other like, is that a term we're supposed to know?
Yeah.
One of the mini bosses is the lunch lady.
The principal is the last boss.
I'm scared to be
a
like a succubus character.
Oh my god.
Oh god. But no, in all seriousness, probably just like, I don't know. I never really thought too much about bosses like that, but maybe probably I don't know. Okay, so say the villain is like already like fucking divine ruler of the world. Just probably like her minions and stuff.
Yeah.
Come along and try to make things difficult for you.
And how would they engage with the daughter character? Would they be, full force attacking?
No, the funny thing is they probably, because like, how when in 7, like the original 7, when you are fighting Rude with Tifa, he doesn't attack Tifa.
Yeah.
It'll be like that. Like anytime the daughter is like in the front party, like they won't attack her because they have to bring her back to the mom alive and like
That's cool.
unscathed. Otherwise, they'll get like their heel up her foot. But at the same time, because that would just suck for like boss fights, because then it wouldn't be hard at all. Magically, somehow she's just never around. She's like on a like your party will split and it like she'll be off doing something. I don't know. Sorry, I just thought of that plot hole. I just realized, oh shit, if this is a boss fight and the daughter's there, it's basically not really a boss fight because you'll never lose.
You'll always win. Yeah.
Or how about this, to close that hole? If the daughter is the only one left alive, then the boss flees and you have to restart the fight.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Okay.
That'd
I
be
like
an
that
interesting
idea.
twist.
Shadow.
Yeah.
That would be good.
And
It
then
would
maybe
probably-
during that fleeing, like let's say if this is a tool to like level build, then every time that boss flees, they drop items or XP or something to help your party the second round, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or like they actually like capture the daughter and then the rest of your party has to go in and chase after them to get her
Oh,
back.
that'd be cool, yeah. That reminds me of Resident Evil 4.
Ooh.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Doc? Who are your gods using as arbiters of their will?
I have answers for this one for sure. I'm gonna actually give away the plot to this game I'm building in my head right now. So, what I would find most interesting is, first of all, the whole thing is gonna really be about enslavement of an entire world, right? Because the old gods, that's what obviously their goal is to do. So I would like it if we saw like typical Final Fantasy villain-esque themes, like I don't know, like dragons, barbars, stuff of that nature. Final Fantasy known creatures that they're very obviously like enslaved in some higher power sort of way by the old gods themselves. But yeah, giant void character. What I would really like to see, and this is like I'm just pushing boundaries at this moment. Like, this would piss people off too so much. I can already see it. But I would like it, and this is kind of the reason why I want a bigger team too that you play with and get to know. Mm-hmm. I would like, through subtext and just subplots throughout the game, that the old gods happen to corrupt half of your party members by the end of the game.
Oh,
and so the second to last boss fight would just be them finally turning on you, and you have to fight your literal comrades to the death.
No, that's intense.
It's a lot of people off, but I think it'd be really.
Oh, it's like the Dark Aeons all over again.
Yep, Dark Aeon. Far Cry 5 did that too at the final fight.
Far Cry 5 was so good. Oh my god.
Yeah. You had to
what a
like
good game.
Damage your comrades and then revive them, and then they rejoin you to fight the last boss.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Shadow, what about you?
So I would definitely want traditional Final Fantasy monsters, and I would want them twisted depending on what kind of world you're in, or whatever, based on the laws of that world. I also would want, if this is an MMO, players to have the option to be monsters and bosses. Then they can design them however they choose. I think that would be super cool. I would definitely want to see like Mabro as a boss, Jumbo Cactuar with a twisty mustache. Like,
yes.
I want my like Black Friday summon somewhere.
Oh god.
I like, and I even want like some more abstract bosses. Like I would want a boss who's like a glitch in the game, like a tear in the universe, and he just looks like a bunch of numbers and floating code. And you're like, how the fuck do I fight this? Like you gotta like bend space time to sort of like take him back, or use telepathy or magic or something. Yeah, I feel like the sky's the limit, and maybe you could fight like a living mountain as a monster or a boss fight. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
An ode to the glitches. Yeah.
Yes, an ode to the glitches. I would want an evil chocobo for sure. Like things that are traditionally cute, like Moogles and chocobos. I want evil versions of those too, as like enemies or monsters.
Oh, you would love Final Fantasy 14 then, because you have a whole Moogle boss fight there. It's quite cute, but it's terrifying.
God, it's so fun. It's a good fight too, I think.
Like you have to really like watch out because they'll fucking kill you. So
oh no.
Yeah, it's a very cute battle, but yeah,
I would also like to really quick mention, because this bothers me all the time, and I've talked to people about this and they just disagree with me. I want everybody to listen to the boss theme music from that fight in Final Fantasy XIV and tell me it's not just like a song from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, I need to listen to it again. Shoot, I'm gonna
It
listen to it after this.
is
And let you
at
know.
least bare minimum based upon.
It might be because it
That's
is.
it. That's all I want to say. Because I had tripped my girlfriend and she was like, "No, this is different." Like, yeah, it's different, but listen to it. This is just
Maybe.
an alternate version of the song.
Oh god,
no,
I have to
I
listen
like-
to it again. Yeah.
The This Is Halloween song.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think so.
Yeah, I'll
You
listen to
gotta
it
check
after.
that out.
All right,
Oh, I
Shadow.
wanted to add,
Huh?
I love the end monsters in lunar depths of Final Fantasy IV, like the last few floors before you fight the final boss. They were just like these epic mini boss fights, like behemoths and like essences and like ultra like dragon types, like mind flayers and stuff, like all of these like super deadly. I would want those to be sort of like normal type of fights too. Like every fight should be a struggle. I feel like not necessarily a 30-minute epic battle, but at least a struggle where like you always feel underpowered.
Right. Oh god.
I
that would
feel
frustrate
that.
me. All right. Is there one more thing? Or
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Brittany, what kind of battle system would you develop, or if you could make changes to how Final Fantasy battle system works, like what would you do in your game?
I'm not really picky about battle systems at all. Like really, I'm pretty much happy with anything. I would love to bring the sphere grid back. I really like the sphere grid. I just like to building it up and like seeing it slowly evolve. I know that they have something like that in like Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they have it in 13. But I just want the spheres. I don't know. I like that kind of system where you're like slowly building up. But other than that, I'm not very picky. I'm most happy with Final Fantasy VII Remake's battle system, and I would just love to keep that. So that's kind of yeah.
What about you, Serena?
Dude, first off, I love the sphere grid too, Hylia. I think it's so pretty when you get it all to light up.
Yes.
So pretty.
It's so
But-
addicting.
I want to take it back to like a mix of the gambit system from 12 and the combat system from 7 Remake, because I like to have that kind of power where you can still tell your characters, all right, well, this is what you're going to do, and if this doesn't need to be done, then you're going to go down to the next thing on your list that you're going to do. That way I could have you have more control over healing. That way you don't have to just worry about like healing for yourself. But then if the main character you're controlling is like kind of stuck in a rut and you just switch characters, you can like go off and do that.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
It's a little Frankenstein battle system for me over here.
I feel like your game should, especially because it's your game, should incorporate some kind of VR element where you could like stab people and use blade skills,
Yes,
right? At
That'd be
least like
great.
maybe
I'd
for a
love
boss
that.
fight or something.
I would love that. I'd be about that.
It's these hands.
Catch these hands.
What about you,
Catch
Doc?
these hands.
Oh, I think you're muted.
I think you're muted.
Doc.
Nope, you're still muted. Okay, now you're.
Am I muted now? Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, sorry, I muted myself a little bit ago because the train was coming and I didn't want everybody to have to hear the choo-choo.
Oh, but I
Choo-
love
It was
Choo
very,
Choo.
very
Choo.
loud. I would absolutely, and I know I just like had a whole shtick today about like how we need to keep moving forward with battle systems and stuff like that. But just because I make that argument, which I do believe in, doesn't mean I don't miss the turn-based systems. So I would absolutely have a turn-based game. Like I love turn-based. I love what Final Fantasy VII Remake did. I just also love turn-based. And it seems like we are moving into like smaller indie games, not even smaller indie games, but just smaller games in general, or less known projects by bigger companies. Still can do like that. Like I think the big reason why Square Enix gets to get away with making Final Fantasy is not turn-based because they still have things like Dragon Age, or not Dragon Age, fucking
Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest. Dragon Age is
Yeah.
totally different. Dragon Quest, and they have things like Octopath Traveler, which
Mhm.
still remain true to that. So they're just like moving forward with their most important IP, arguably. to continue moving into the future, because it's obviously that they want to bring Final Fantasy further into the future. They're going to eventually want to see a 17, 18, 19, depending on fans. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But for me personally, I would like the turn system back. I didn't like the sphere grid as much as you guys did, I will admit. I thought it became tedious near the end when you have a lot of stuff, but you're just like kind of looking for things to fill now.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's salty because the PlayStation remaster achievement that was associated with that was to literally fill out the sphere grid for every character entirely, including the empty nodes. I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, in my opinion.
Is there a I can cheat? Because I will do that instead of doing this. But I would say I really, really liked, though, and it was super simple, but I really liked the license board from 12 a lot.
Yeah, that was cool.
Especially in the I think they made changes to it actually in the Zodiac Age version of the game, where they improved upon it. And so that's my answer. Like, the turn-based Final Fantasy 12 was my answer.
I just want 12 again. Yeah. All right, Shadow. What about you?
I'm not too picky about the battle system. I love turn-based, but I am also like future forward friendly. So I would probably lean on the developers on my team who are helping me make this game for us to collaborate and figure out like a good medium. Could we have it as an option that you can choose between the, like turn-based and then another type of system? What I feel like I would want regarding the battle system and leveling and progression is like, if you die or if you reach critical health in a fight, how you reach that kind of like critical point sort of becomes your weaknesses. Like how enemies have different weaknesses, like ice-based, use fire and it does extra damage. So like, let's say if your character died from a fire attack, now your character is more vulnerable to fire attacks going forward, and you sort of have to like grind or level up in a way to sort of conquer that, like where each way you've died or reached critical health now sort of becomes more of a weakness for you, and then you've got to like go through this process of self-improvement in a way in the game to sort of conquer that. And then if you want to get like to build resistances towards these kind of things, then maybe you've got to like absorb the souls of fire elemental enemies, or like really obliterate them in a fight or something like that. I feel like something like that, like this ever evolving character system would be cool, because that way like you may not always be overpowered in a game. Like you may always have to like struggle, and I feel like keeping that aspect of the gameplay is important to keep attention.
I agree.
Yeah,
I like that too. It's more realistic.
Yeah, so like if a Moburo kicks your attack, then or kicks your ass, then you guys are more vulnerable to like poison attacks, and Cactuar stabs the shit out of you, and now you're vulnerable to like sharp objects, swords and blades and needles.
Especially needles.
Especially needles. All right. Well, I think
So
that's
it.
That's the
That's our
show.
game.
Yeah. We had a lot to talk about today. Very exciting news. Tokyo. Huh?
You said we're all very excited about
Yeah,
this.
no, I am excited. I'm excited. I'm ready to see more. I think everyone else is as well. A couple of announcements. So Tokyo Game Show is next week, apparently. We are going to be watching. Maybe we'll have something else to talk about. We don't know. It's kind of like we don't really want to make any subjects yet because we just don't know what's going to happen, because so many things are coming our way. But which is awesome. It's good to have more content. But we are on Spotify. I've been noticing we've been getting a lot more listens on Spotify, which is awesome. I really like listening to Spotify more than
I said thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, so it's good that we can have that option where people can just kind of chill and listen when they're doing stuff. So this episode, our last week's episode went on Spotify yesterday. It took me a while to upload it. This one should be on, hopefully, if not tomorrow, sometime this week. We're also on YouTube. We're on Twitch. We're on Twitter. We're on Discord. We're on a lot of things. So
Can I make a quick shout out?
Yeah, go ahead.
One shout out to my homegirl Jade. She's on Twitter at Wildburger with a bunch of extra R's at the end.
Ooh.
During the announcement, when like well, before the announcement, she basically said, if they announce Final Fantasy 16 today, I'm gonna like smash an egg on my face, and she actually did, because like I held her to that, and a lot of people did.
Oh my
And
God.
afterwards, when they announced it, she was just like, yeah, Final Fantasy 16, smashed an egg on her face. So shout out to you for being a trooper and smashing egg on your face. And if you also talk that kind of shit on Twitter and stuff, know that the internet will call you out on it. So don't say things like, I'll eat my hat, because then you will have to eat your hat.
Yeah. We will call you out. We will hold you accountable for your promises. Yeah. Anyways, everyone, have a great night. Thanks for listening. We had kind of a slow chat today, but that's okay. I think, whatever. Everyone's
Have a great
tired.
weekend,
Yeah,
everybody.
have a great weekend.
Have a
All
lot of
right.
fun out there.
Yeah, have a good weekend, and good luck, everyone, with your lives. That sounds ominous. All right. Goodbye.